1, 2, 3, let's switch this up.
So, what if Five Nights at Freddy's was in Dead by Daylight? This is my idea that I had for Springtrap. I've had this idea for quite a while now, and I've kind of really wanted to see Five Nights at Freddy's in Dead by Daylight, and I saw that there was a Springtrap like chase music. And I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. And I just kind of went with it. I had some ideas for perks and ideas for his power, and I thought it would be kind of cool to share them with you. So here is what I think Springtrap would be like in Dead by Daylight, and why I think it would probably be Springtrap, or another idea that I had if they were to put Five Nights at Freddy's in Dead by Daylight. So before I get into it, if you could please like and subscribe if you are enjoying this video or end up enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments below what you think. I would like to hear your ideas. So, the reason why I think Springtrap would be the one to be in Dead by Daylight, if FNAF was to be in Dead by Daylight, was because Springtrap is actually quite an important part of the story, because Springtrap is the purple guy, and the purple guy is such a big part of the FNAF story, and he is the child killer. He is like the main antagonist in FNAF, besides the actual animatronics themselves. But also I do try to incorporate the original FNAF characters in this power that I've given Springtrap, which I'll get into right now. So I've named his power the Springlock Suit. Whilst standing over a survivor in the dying state, you will press the active ability button to shove the survivor into your current Springlock suit and perform a remnant swap. You would shove the survivor into the suit that you're in. I'll get to it in a second, but there are multiple suits around the environment. It would be the suit that you have at the moment. The survivor may attempt to get up with the Springlock suit. When the survivor is in the suit, they can still go around and do stuff, but first they have to get up in the suit. And kind of like the trapper's traps, they would have to attempt to get up. They would eventually get up. It's up to chance how many times they would need to attempt to get up before they actually do get up. After 3 stages, the springlocks in the suit will fault and crush the survivor if they are still inside. So kind of like Pyramid Head, it's a built-in Mori, which is different from their like Memento Mori offerings or their Devour Hope Mori or anything like that. It's a different one that is just in the suit. But each stage at the base of it would be about a minute. So they would have 3 minutes to eventually get out of the suit before they are Mori'd. The survivor will need to hold their breath by holding the crouch button as moisture loosens the springlocks. Failure to hold down the crouch button will result in losing a stage. The survivor has the ability to break pallets and doors with expense to their stage, as sudden movement will loosen the springlocks. It was in one of the first 3 games, we were told that moisture and sudden movement loosens the springlocks. That's why the purple guy was killed when he first jumped into the suit, which rattled it around, and because it was raining and the roof was leaking, there was moisture on the springlocks. That's why the springlocks failed and killed him. So the survivors, while they're in the suit, they will have to use the crouch button to hold their breath. But so they can only hold their breath 3 stages. They just have to hold the button the entire time. But if they were, say, to let go before the end of the 3 stages, they would end up losing a stage. Because the suit is made out of metal and is so big and chunky, I reckon the suit could probably break pallets and those breakable door things that only killers can do. But obviously, because it's a sudden movement, it would loosen the spring locks. Whilst the survivor is in the spring lock suit, survivors can walk around, repair generators, unhook other survivors, and drop pallets, but at a considerably reduced speed. Other survivors may release the survivor in the spring lock suit, but both survivors have to perform skill checks. It's kind of like the pig's jigsaw box, where you have to find the key, but both of the survivors have to perform skill checks. Once a survivor is put in a suit, they cannot be hit down again. And now, back to the remnant swap, which is when you put the survivor in the suit and you perform a remnant swap. So it transfers your soul from your current spring lock suit to the closest original suit. And original suits are, at the start of the trial, a Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy suit will be placed spread out around the environment. So there will be 5 other suits around the map that you can then teleport into those different suits. And a special ability to kind of help with looping and gameplay and stuff like that, whilst in a chase, press and hold the power button to perform a jump scare, unleashing a shock attack within the fright's terror radius. Jump scares will only affect the survivor that you are in a chase with. So you have to be in a chase with a survivor for your special ability to work. And it will only work on that one survivor that you're in a chase with. It's kind of like the Doctor's shockwave, where you have to be within the fright's terror radius for it to actually affect the survivor that you're in a chase with. And successfully striking a survivor will cause a jump scare where their vision is partially blocked. And it would be like a jump scare to kind of tie it in with the whole Five Nights at Freddy's thing. And now for the perks that I've come up with. I'm actually quite proud of these perks. I really think that they're really interesting and I quite like how a lot of them came out. The first perk is called I Always Come Back, which is what Springtrap says, I believe, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This perk is a tiny bit complicated to get at the start, like when you first read it, but depending on whether it's tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, it's basically a different perk, and that's kind of what I wanted to go for. You were never really helping. After killing a survivor by any means, performing the damage generator action will progress the generator 20, 15, or 10%. The next survivor who repairs the generator will suffer from the exposed status effect for 40, 35, 30 seconds. The generator's aura will be highlighted in yellow for 6, 8, 10 seconds. I Always Come Back is active for 40, 50, 60 seconds after the survivor is killed. So if this perk is tier 1, after you've killed somebody, I Always Come Back will be active for 40 seconds. So you have 40 seconds to kick a gen. And after you've kicked that gen, it will add 20% more progress to the generator. But the next survivor who gets onto the generator will suffer from the exposed status effect for 40 seconds. But if you have it at tier 3, the perk is active for 60 seconds. When you kick a gen, you will only add 10% progression, but the survivor who starts to repair the generator will only have the exposed status effect for 30 seconds. It really depends on what you want to do with the perk, whether you keep it at tier 1 or progress it to tier 3. It depends whether you want to take that risk and add 20% to a gen and have more time to hit the survivor with the exposed status effect, or if you want to progress the gen less by adding only 10%, but take a risk with only having 30 seconds to hit down the survivor. The second perk is called Minigame. You hope survivors like to play games alone. Anytime one survivor is working on a generator, the survivor will have to look around to see the skill check. Skill checks are slightly easier. Failing the skill check will result in an additional 3, 4, 5% regression penalty. So basically what this does is you can look around while you're on the generator. So instead of having the skill checks right in the middle of your screen, you will get the notification for the skill check and you actually have to look around to try and find the skill check. And skill checks are made slightly bigger so that you have enough time to actually find them. But failing this skill check will result in a regression penalty, as well as notifying the killer. And the last perk is called Hex Location. So one trapped hex totem will spawn in the trial. When the trapped hex totem is cleansed by a survivor, any survivor who enters or exits the killer's terror radius will scream. This perk will remain active for 40, 50, and 60 seconds. Depending on what your build is, you can have a very tiny terror radius where if a survivor is going in and out of your tiny terror radius, if you're in a chase with them, they'll scream multiple times. Or if you have a massive terror radius, then you'll make people scream at the far edges of the map. Or if you have a normal terror radius, then you can get into chases a lot easier and you can find survivors a lot easier. And just to end off this video, this is just my idea. I thought that this would be really cool if you were able to incorporate all of the original and some of the important characters of Five Nights at Freddy's into one character. And I thought the idea of putting survivors into a suit, it would tie in with the themes of Five Nights at Freddy's a lot more and make gameplay a lot interesting. But obviously, if you have your own ideas or if you think that Five Nights at Freddy's definitely would not fit well in Dead by Daylight, leave that in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. But yeah, this was just for fun. I thought it would be like really cool to see Five Nights at Freddy's in Dead by Daylight. I think it would be awesome. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching through this entire video. I really appreciate it. If you guys liked this idea, or even if you thought it was so stupid that it was funny, leave a like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I feel like I'm going to do some more Dead by Daylight character, killer, survivor idea videos because I actually have a whole heap of ideas. Don't forget to drink water and be in bed by 9 o'clock.